Hey, listen, let's finish this up with the Easter story. Your take on Easter story, because what I'm seeing right now out there all over the place, I'm seeing carrots and rabbits and pastel colored eggs all over the place. I'm like,
Right.
are we missing something or no? Hey, we missing something? Do we need more
Yeah.
little rabbits? Do we need, what do we need? Sugary little Cadbury eggs and stuff? What are we missing, Outcast?
We're missing Jesus and the resurrection, the crucifixion and the resurrection of Jesus.
Oh
Yep.
my gosh, it's crazy. This culture is insane.
That's been going on for a long time. And when you and
I
I were
know.
kids, that's what we thought Easter was too. We thought it was
Yeah.
bunny rabbits, Easter egg. It was very just like Halloween. It's very cute and fun, and it kind of pulls you in when you're a kid, and it gets nostalgic.
Yep.
But is it a stumbling block? It could be. Thank goodness for your local church for always trying to keep us on track. If your parents are willing to take you, if your parents aren't willing to take you, you're going to be really confused about everything. I know this guy who's, I guess he's an atheist, and he used to say, Jesus was a zombie because he came back from the dead. They don't out of ignorance they say things that they think are funny. But some random thoughts on Easter if you'd like, Jesse. Are you?
Yeah. Before you read it, did y'all hear that the dates of this Holy Week line up with the original events? Yeah,
Yes,
I think I sent that earlier to you. That's music.
I did hear that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they're saying this year,
Yep.
Friday the 3rd would actually be aligned with when Jesus was. Wow. If that doesn't tell you we're getting close, I mean, to me, it feels like it really feels like we're getting close.
Well, that thing that I sent you says what, we're 3 days away, exactly 3 days from. No. What was Jesus doing on this? What? I sent it to you.
So this is Holy Week. So we're going to have Monday, Thursday. We're going to have Good Friday.
A lot can happen in 7 days. Hang on. What the heck was it? I had something that I can't find it now.
Well, if you want to look for it, I'll babble for a second while you look for it.
Okay.
Saved by Grace. Amber Dawn says today is the day that he flipped the tables. That's probably correct.
That's it. That's what I was looking for. Today,
Yeah.
Jesus is over there flipping tables. I want to flip tables too. Yep. I think
we're flipping tables.
Yeah, I think
we're doing it our own way.
That's it.
Yeah, and so and so is Carla. So just some random thoughts. There's a lot of different ways to approach Easter, but some things that have been pointed out to me or that jumped out at me, I'm going to share with you. First of all, it's amazing to think about Palm Sunday. One of the first things that happened before he went into the city was he said, go across town and you're going to find a donkey and a colt, untie them. And if the owner asks you, what's it for? Just tell him it's for the Lord. And then he's going to, and see, he's omniscient, omnipresent. He knew that donkey and colt were there, and they went and they brought it back. Right. And that's to fulfill prophecy. Cause I think it's in Isaiah, it says that he rode in on donkey. Right. So he's fulfilling prophecy. Oh, go ahead.
Can I ask you something about this donkey first?
Sure. This is not the talking donkey.
Okay. I wanted to bring that in only because it's relevant to the supernatural stuff that happens that, again, is always left out of church sermons. They won't talk about a talking donkey.
Yeah. Yep.
All right. Sorry. I didn't mean to mess you up, but
no, it's okay. No, you're good. No, you're good. But you're right. They won't talk. They don't like to talk about it. It's where it's probably a place where, churches get criticized by mockers and scoffers, which we shouldn't be listening to them anyways. They don't understand.
Yep.
But anyways, just some random thoughts. But Jesus, what he did when he came in the city was he was healing people. He was healing the sick, and and the Pharisees were getting furious. Think about that for a second. I mean, really ponder that. Why are they mad? If he's healing the sick and the needy, where's the problem here? Well, see, but God does everything to his greater purpose. So he knew that their hearts were black and evil. So when he went in doing good and they got mad, it's just like I brought up earlier with Carla, it causes them to reveal who they are. Right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Anyways, then, there's a lot of other things that take place, but I'm going to jump ahead here. We get to Pontius Pilate does not want to be involved in this process. He tries to wash his hands of it, but he gets roped in by the Pharisees to bring this man to innocent man to trial. And they would have a process where they would offer up two criminals, and the crowd could pick who they wanted to save. And the crowd cheered, we want to crucify Jesus and free Barabbas. Barabbas was a murderer. Barabbas was a scumbag. And Jesus stood there silent, like a sheep before a shearer. He didn't say anything in his defense. He stood there as they chose Barabbas. Now, there's lots of ways to look at this. In Matthew, towards the end of Matthew 21 through the end of Matthew talks about this whole process, but it kind of says that the Pharisees went around and rallied up, a crowd to chant these things. But I think it's entirely possible too that the demons that were influencing these Pharisees were also jumping into this crowd. They were bringing a demonic influence because the demons were so terrified of Jesus. Don't forget that when he was casting out the demons from the one guy, he says, "What are you doing here before your appointed time?" The demon wanted to know. We knew you were coming, but not this early.
Yep.
So don't you think that they'd be just going, "We got to get rid of this guy"? So everybody was filled with this rage that they normally wouldn't have. They probably weren't even in their right minds. They were passengers in their own bodies probably at that point. But what's interesting to me about the Barabbas thing is Barabbas is a criminal. He's a thug. He's whatever he was. He's a civil dissident, whatever you want to label him. The crowd was cheering, "Free Barabbas." Okay. Well, I'm sorry. At the end of the day, when I look back at my life and who I was before Christ, I'm Barabbas.
Mm-hmm.
You're Barabbas.
We're all Barabbas.
We're all Barabbas.
Yep.
And Jesus took on death for somebody as nasty as Barabbas was. He did it for us. Yep.
Because he knew what was coming down the line.
Yeah. Now, what's interesting to me is as Jesus is, they're mocking him, they're scoffing him. The centurions are treating him terribly and spitting on him and putting a crown of thorns on his head. And I mean, everything you can imagine to humiliate this guy. And he's being beaten. And then even as he's on the cross, there's like, this guy, King of the Jews, why don't you ask God to bring, to get you down off that cross? I mean, they mocked and scoffed the entire time. That is until things started to shift and change. And this is something that God revealed to me when I was reading the Bible last night. So I'm going to read some of this, if that's okay, Jesse.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Okay, so this is in Matthew 27, I believe, the death of Jesus. From noon until 3 in the afternoon, darkness came over all the land. About 3 in the afternoon, Jesus cried out in a loud voice, "Eli, Eli, lema," I don't know if I can pronounce this, "sabachthani," which means, my God, why have you forsaken me?" Which, by the way, Muslims will claim is proof that he was not God because he was calling out to God. But what they fail to recognize is I think it's in Psalms, Jesus, it's prophecy. That's what the Messiah cries out, is, my God, why have you forsaken me?" Among other things. When some of these standing there heard this, and they said, "He's calling Elijah." Immediately one of them ran and got a sponge, and he filled it with wine vinegar, put it on a staff, and offered it to Jesus to drink. The rest said, "Now leave him alone. Let's see if Elijah comes to save him," mocking him as he's been beaten to a pulp and he's hanging on a cross with nails. Mm-hmm. And when Jesus had cried out again in a loud voice, he gave up his spirit. At that moment, the curtain of the temple was torn from top to bottom. The earth shook and the rocks split and the tombs broke open. Now, this is where it gets wild. I saw this myself, and Brother Tom noticed it too. And I'm not sure what to make of it. It's fun to I love to consider this and ponder this. But so as the veil is split in the temple, the earth shook. It says the tombs broke open. The bodies of many holy people who had died were raised to life. They came out of the tombs after Jesus' resurrection and went into the holy city and appeared to many people. Can you imagine that? Okay, so that's pretty shocking. It's shocking stuff. Stick with me.
I like it. I like it.
When the centurion and those with him who were guarding Jesus saw the earthquake and all that had happened, they were terrified and exclaimed, "Surely he was the Son of God." They exclaimed it, okay? Now, the reason this jumps out at me is this. Everybody that we know, I know people who are, I'm not trying to be mean. I'm just going to say people who are low IQ and they reject God. They can't figure it out. They can't seem to get a grip on it. They just can't. They're in rebellion and they keep questioning and they chase their tail and they're not fertile ground when people give them, when they try to plant and water seeds, they get it, but they don't get it. Then there's rich, wealthy, highly intelligent people. And they can't figure it out either. They cannot get this. And all these people who are in rebellion towards God, they mock and they scoff until things get really real. Okay. So for many of us who have eyes to see, COVID got really real. We saw the intentions of the devil and his plans to enslave humanity, and it woke us up. And many of us started turning our hearts to God right away. But there's still other people who forget very easily, who are still mocking and still scoffing, and they don't get it. They
Mm-hmm.
don't understand what we just came out of, and they're not going to spot the next deception. They're also not going to recognize that they need a savior, and they think that they can get out of all their problems because they got magic money sitting at home for no reason. They thought COVID was a great time to do some extra drinking and hang out, right? They didn't see a warning in it. But when things get really real, when the sky darkens and the earth shakes and the rocks split and the dead walk, the centurions, soldiers who were trained for battle to go out into the world and slaughter people, got scared, and they said, surely he was the Son of God.
Yep.
That's what's going to happen to everybody, I think. If you don't recognize the calling now, it's going to get so real. Like Ed Mabry said on our show several weeks ago, he said it goes from bad to worse before it gets better.
Yep.
We think it's a head game now. We think it's confusing and stressful now. It's going to get weirder yet.
This is the pregame.
Okay? This is the pregame. But the good news is the centurions, the tough guys, even they will be given pause and cause to say, surely Jesus is the Son of God. Because there's no such thing as an atheist in a foxhole when you're scared, right?
Right. Yep.
I could go on.
Well, no, for me, this is perfect because this is the time from the flipping of the tables, right? In the whipping of the money changers. I said this before, but I would love to be able to be there, Outcast, and look around and see what was happening and look at the village and see the sky and see those centurions that were there, and just take it all in and just look to see the setting. It would be just amazing to be there for these, 3 days. Give me 3 days, right? And watch that, and watch the reaction of the people when they see the dead return. Oh my gosh, I couldn't imagine what that would look like. I mean, I wonder if Mel Gibson could probably put that into a picture, into a movie.
It's funny. It's funny you say that because I was thinking the same thing. I'm like, you know what, dude? If he's going to do a part 2, I wonder if he's going to address that. That would be amazing if he did.
That's what I want to see. I would love to see the sky turn. I don't know if it turned blue or, purple, whatever it did, but, oh my gosh, just to be there for those 3 days to see what was going on. I'll take the whole 7 days if you want, but just give me 3. Come on. I want to see it. I think eventually we'll see the whole thing, Outcast, but, I'm just throwing it out there. Yeah.
Now I know we're going long here. If I may, I want to say just a little bit more. So, yes, that on the third day Jesus rose. That's where we celebrate Easter. The Pharisees knew that he was going to rise. They went and they convinced Pilate to let them send guards to guard it because they thought they even tried to concoct a story that the disciples took the body. It's all can be through apologetics. It all can be debunked very easily. Not to mention my shirt. The Shroud of Turin is amazing piece of thing to consider of history that I believe is probably true, a true thing. Look into that. There's some great documentaries. But now, after the New Testament, we have the death of Christ, and then we have the whole New Testament to study on the teachings of Paul, Thessalonians, First Corinthians, Second Corinthians. All those books are amazing. But what we forget about too is that there were people so profoundly affected by this event. People who were mockers and scoffers, that they went out into the world. They're not in the Bible, and they spread the gospel based on what their personal experience was. Okay? Yeah. But then our friend JC sent this article about some martyrs that I didn't know about.
JC Hall.
Yep. Yeah, JC Hall. We love you, JC. And it shook me because there's so many stories like this throughout history that are not in our biblical texts. And if you find these stories out there, they exist, they will blow your freaking mind. Now, these are people who were such believers that they were focused on the unseen and not what was seen, and they did not care what happened to their body anymore. Check this story out, you guys. The 40 martyrs of Sebaste were a group of 4th century Roman soldiers who were executed for their Christian faith by being forced to stand naked on a frozen lake during a harsh winter in Armenia. They remained steadfast. Am I breaking up? Damn it.
You came back.
Hello?
Well, it's still trying to work. Keep going.
Okay. They were forced to stand naked on a frozen lake during a harsh winter in Armenia. They remained steadfast in prayer, with one guard filling the place of a defector. Key details of the martyrdom: when and where. Around 320 years AD, that's 320 years after Christ, in the city of Sebaste, modern-day Sivas, Turkey, during the reign of Emperor Licinius. The punishment: 40 soldiers of the Thundering Legion were tasked by Governor Agricola to renounce their faith. Upon refusal, they were stripped and placed on a frozen lake at night. The temptation: a warm bathhouse was set up on the shore to tempt the soldiers to renounce their faith. The defector and the guard: one soldier broke and ran to the warm bath, but died immediately from the extreme temperature change. A guard named Aglaeus, witnessing a miraculous light and experiencing a vision of heavenly crowns, took off his clothes and joined the remaining 39 soldiers on the ice to complete the number.
Mm. He put himself in there.
He took the place of the guy that ran to the bathhouse.
Knowing that he was going to die. Knowing he's going to die.
And the guy that chose comfort over his life,
yep,
he died anyways.
Gone. Right? Yep.
Man, that story is heavy to me. I don't know why. It's amazing to think of that type of conviction, to know that to gain life is to perish, but to give your life is to have gain. It blows my mind.
That particular hits me when I read that the other day. It particularly hit me because being out there on the ice in the nighttime. Well, I'm an ice fisherman, and I know how cold that is out there. Now to be thrown out there naked, I can't imagine it. I can't imagine it. That was their punishment. And they knew they were going to die. They had, the bathhouse was just right there. They could have just walked right over to it and got warm. But they stuck. They stuck to their faith. And they, I can't imagine the outcast. Golly.
I don't mean to be this heavy, but we have to mentally prepare ourselves, because there's going to come choices that they're going to try to make us make like that.
Yeah. Well, there's going to be offers. They're going to be like, you will take this. If you want food for your family, you're going to have to take this. We're going to have to say no. That's what I said, a long time ago. I said, we are going to be backed into a corner. Every one of us are going to be backed into some sort of a position where we're going to be offered something. If you know, well, you want some food, you want some water for your little kid, for you, your wife. Well, here, you're going to have to take this if you want it. My grandparents warned me about that. And they're like, way back in the 1980s. 1980s, Outcast, they said, hey, somebody in the future is going to ask you to take something and if you want to eat. And they said, don't do it. And I was like, well, am I supposed to get hungry, or am I supposed to just die of starvation? I guess so. Yeah.
Amber Dawn is asking me where I got that. That was sent to us by JC Hall, former guest and friend of ours.
Put it in the Discord.
Discord. I'll put it there. Yeah.
It's a meme, not a meme. It's an image, a graphic is what it is. We can put it in there underneath that biblical thing, or give it to Music Lover. She knows best where to put everything. We're just slinging stuff all over the place in there. She knows where to put it. Yeah. Well, listen, that was awesome. I like it. It's I just wanted you to go over this stuff, this Easter history, and what the days might have looked like, and especially this last story right here. Perfect week for this, because we won't be back on until next week, Monday, and Easter will have already passed. And it's not all about the eggs and the the pastels and the rabbits and the carrots and all that nonsense. This is what it's all about right here. Yeah.
In closing, I'm going to say this: how real is the death and resurrection to you? How real is it? Is it as real as it was? I mean, we weren't there to see the earth shake and see the veil torn. We didn't get to see all those evidences, but we believe. But we may see lots of weirder stuff yet, but we have to just be steadfast in our faith, because like those centurions, they didn't see it firsthand, but they believed as if they did, as if those guys right there on that day, surely this was the Son of God, is what they said.
Mm-hmm.
once they went from mocking and scoffing to this is getting really real really fast.
Oh, they took it serious then, didn't they? They were messing around after that.